Hello everyone and welcome to the Carcode YouTube channel. My name's Sam. If you're new here, please make sure to hit subscribe down below for all the latest new car reviews and car content. Today I am checking out this. This is the all-new Mazda CX80. The CX60's big brother, offering up to 7 seats rather than 5. That means it's 25 centimeters longer. That's all in the wheelbase as well, by the way. So it's quite a long vehicle at just under 5 meters. Today I'm going to be going through the specs, the engines, how it drives, and letting you know my overall thoughts on the all-new CX80. If that sounds good, keep watching to the end for an overview on this all-new Mazda. Okay, so starting off with the exterior design of the CX80, you can see it's very similar to the CX60. I've never actually driven or reviewed that car, so I'm reviewing this as a new car by itself, if you like, because you probably wouldn't be looking in the market for the same cars unless you want the bigger boot or need the extra seats. Then you wouldn't even consider the CX60. But coming to the front, it is very similar. It's also very similar to the CX70 and CX90 that you see over in the States. However, it's just a little bit narrower than those vehicles to suit UK and European roads. You've got these LED headlights, and I love this little accent of light bar that goes through. That always looks like chrome, but it is actually a light, which I really like. I think that's a nice bit of design, a little bit different from the full length light bar you see on a lot of cars now, or just from having them separate. These lights are quite different too. They're quite a square blocky light rather than those sleek slim lights that we see on a lot of vehicles now, which are very nice and popular options as they look so sleek, but this is just something a little bit different, which is really appreciated. So you can see, as this is a Takumi model, you've got more of a bright silver chrome around here instead of the darker one that you get on the Hamura. I think I like the Hamura look better, but this has got more of a classical look, and it does definitely look premium. To the side, the CX80 is nothing shy of a limousine. At almost 5 meters long, it is very, very big. You've got this long bonnet as well, which isn't the most common thing that we see on SUVs now or on general vehicles. This is to house the inline 6-cylinder turbo diesel that you can get, the 3.3 litre. It has a very sleek look to the side. If we come round further back to the side of the vehicle, have a stretched out look, which Mazda actually wanted to accentuate. They didn't want to hide this extra length, so they've added these roof rails to extend it further, and then obviously you've got a massive rear door, and they've also thickened the chrome at the very end to kind of highlight the fact that it is the bigger model. They're quite proud of this, that it is their largest Mazda vehicle available, and they want it to stand out from the crowd, and I think they've done quite a good job of that. It does have quite an executive limousine look, especially with the tinted windows on the Plus models. Unfortunately, they're not standard. You've got to go for Hamura Plus or Takumi Plus to get those. To the back of the CX-80, you've got quite a bulbous look with this rounded rear window and then it jutting out here at the back section. You've got lights that go across horizontal, so that's a change from what we see on the CR-V and Volvo models that have got more vertical light signatures. This basically means it looks just like a stretched out, elongated Mazda model rather than making it look in proportion with its size. That's kind of the vibe they've gone for. As I say, they're quite proud that this is their largest Mazda vehicle, and they still wanted to make it quite like what we're used to seeing from Mazda. It does remind me of one thing. It reminds me of Megamind. Sorry, Mazda, but it's got one big head. I think the front is more stylish. Of course, it's designed to be practical. It's not ugly in any way, but I don't think it's the sharpest rear end on the market. Compared to PHEV or diesel, there's not much difference apart from this badge, which will say inline 6 on the diesel ones and PHEV on the plug-in hybrid models. You'll notice this doesn't have rear tinted windows, as it's not a Takumi Plus or a Hamura Plus model. So the non-Plus models just have non-tinted windows, which I think is a bit of a shame. I definitely think it could do with tinted windows for that more executive premium feel. There's 9 different exterior colours to choose from on the CX80, which is great. Mazda's really gone all out. As standard, you get solid Arctic white across the range. That looks nice and suits the car. Metallic starts at £650. You've got the choice of jet black, which is a nice stealthy look. Deep crystal blue, that's a really nice premium looking vehicle. Platinum quartz, I really like that. That's definitely one of my favourite Mazda colours for sure. And last but not least, you've got the melting copper, which is the one that I saw on the PHEV just before. So that's a lovely colour. Going up to your £750 paintwork options, you've got this. This is rhodium white. It does look like a flat white at first glance, but in the sun it is metallic, but not mega different to Arctic white, so maybe not worth the extra. Also at $750 is machine grey, which is a dark stealthy grey if you like that type of look. Then going up to £900 paintwork options, you've got the all new Artisan Red for the CX80. That's a really lovely deep burgundy red colour. It looks incredible, very rich, and definitely adds to the premium vibe that Mazda have gone for with this vehicle. And also, of course, you've got Soul Crystal Red also at £900. So both of these colours are very rich multi-layer paint, so they've got those highlights and dark areas which look really nice, but plenty of colours there to choose from. I like platinum quartz myself. I also do like the deep crystal blue. What would you pick though? Which colour would you pick for your CX80? Pop it in the comments down below. Wheels on the CX80 are in 18 or 20 inches depending on the model. On exclusive line they start with these 18-inch grey alloy wheels. They suit the car well but do look a little bit small, and they should offer a suppler ride. Going up to Hamura and Hamura Plus models, you get these 20-inch gloss black metallic alloy wheels. I really like these. They have a sporty edge to them, but still have that signature kind of classy Mazda design that you'd expect from the brand. Then going up to Takumi and Takumi Plus, you get these grey diamond cut alloy wheels. They're 20 inches as well. Same design as the black ones, but a diamond cut look. I do like these, but I think I do prefer the maybe more modern and sleeker look of the black wheels that you get on Hamura grades. Hamura has an overall slightly sportier edge, whereas Takumi has more of that premium, sophisticated edge to it. So now it's time to take the CX80 for a drive and see how it is. I've got the opportunity to drive both the diesel engine and also the petrol plug-in hybrid, which we have here. So let's start off with the plug-in hybrid, as that will most likely be the most popular option here in the UK. This is the plug-in hybrid one. As I say, that's what we're going to start off with. It's got a 2.5 litre engine and a 17.8 kilowatt hour battery and a combined output of 323 brake horsepower. 173 brake horsepower is from the electric motors, so they do make a big difference to the performance on this vehicle. It can sprint from 0 to 62 in just 6.8 seconds, which is really impressive. That power, plenty enough to get going should you need to, so you'll be quite happy with the power on tap. It's not sluggish. You have an initial kind of split second where it just thinks about it. Once it kicks in though, it flies, especially when you're over kind of 40 miles per hour, it'll just keep going. So that's really great to know. So National Speed Limit Road now, foot down. So especially there, like I say, after 50, it really kicks in that boost of electric power and it's quite fun to drive actually. Now this is on the 20-inch wheels because we're on Hamura Plus. 20 inches are pretty much across the range, excluding the entry-level exclusive line, which gets 18-inch wheels. Now, there's been mixed reviews about the drive and the ride quality, etc. I'm actually quite pleasantly surprised by the ride. I thought it was going to be quite firm on these 20-inch wheels. There is the odd bump and it feels a little jittery, but it's not too bad. It's quite smooth sailing actually, so I don't mind it. I thought it was going to be a lot harsher than it actually is. It is a little bit jittery over those bumps, but it has that sportier feel that you get from other sporty SUVs like the BMW X5. So honestly, it's not uncomfortable by any means. You've got very comfortable ergonomic seats as well. And of course, Mazda are known for making incredible interiors, and this is no different, which we'll move on to in a little bit. Corners quite well too for such a large, heavy SUV. You're not really rolling as much in the corners as you would in something like the CR-V. Again though, that has smaller wheels, so that has a squishier, more comfortable ride and a bit of a lighter feel to driving it. This has a little bit more of a sportier edge to it, which I actually really like. Some people will prefer that more smooth, relaxed feel though. Official electric range is 38 miles, which isn't that great. That's if you're just driving it in pure EV. This car's showing more like it's going to do 25 on a full charge. So that's probably more realistic is what you're going to get if you just drive it in electric mode. This may look like a fast charger, but It's not. This is not an access port to a fast charger. For some reason they put the fast charger port in, but just have the normal charger, which is a bit confusing. So it's not capable of fast charging. So it's very much like its Japanese rival, the CR-V, in that sense that it can only do the slower charging. On a 7 kilowatt hour home wall box, it can charge full in around 2.5 hours. And on a 3-pin plug, it can charge full in around 7 hours. So you don't necessarily need a wall charger if you do want to go for one of these vehicles, because you could charge it 7-8 hours in the garage just on a normal 3-pin plug. I definitely recommend plugging in your plug-in hybrid though to benefit from the lower running costs. It's definitely worth doing, but it doesn't give you a massive amount of electric range. If you're looking for a pure EV range, you might want to look for something in the Volkswagen range like the Tayron or the Skoda Kodiaq, for example, which have both got fast charging capabilities and a much longer EV range too. Obviously, having the electric and the petrol work together, it helps with power and also keeps those emissions down. That does also mean it'll be good for company car drivers. However, because it doesn't have an official range of 40 miles, the tax rate is higher, unfortunately. So that's just something to bear in mind. However, still significantly less than if you'd go for a pure petrol SUV from another brand, for example. You've got a few more bumps here. It's a little jittery, but it's not awful. The steering's quite nice as well. It's not heavy, but it's not too light. It's a traditional 8-speed automatic transmission in both the diesel and the plug-in hybrid model, but it's very smooth. It works very well. You don't really feel it changing unless you're really kicking your foot down, and then you'll feel it go up the gears eventually. It knows if you want to put your foot down, it's going to stay in a gear for a little bit longer just to help you get up to speed. So it's kind of configured for that sportier feel, which I really like. The thing that I've driven that feels most similar to this, I'd probably say, is an X5 at work. And it's great, the manual gears, I can just knock it into third there. Sometimes that's a bit weird where it like cuts in the engine, you can hear it going to turn on, which is a bit odd. It's like it's the stop start, but it's while you're still driving, which is a little bit strange, but it's something that you'll get used to. It's just a bit disconcerting in a way because you're not normally hearing a car start as you're driving along. You hear that then, you can hear the ignition kind of start up as you drive along, and it's an all-wheel drive system with a rear-wheel drive bias, so that's good. You can steer and then you have that power at the back just to push you out of them corners. Is really good and quite fun as well. It also gives you a good sense of stability on the roads, which I really appreciate, especially for a large SUV like this. You want to feel secure and stable on the roads and not like you're slipping or losing traction. And it says boost on the screen when you need that power, and it does give you that boost. It's really impressive. I like how it drives. It drives really well, and auto hold remembers it's on. You don't have to turn it on each time like you do on some other vehicles, which is good. The only thing with the handbrake, you do have to put it on at the end of the journey. It doesn't come on by itself when you put it into park like most Toyotas do. Got a nice indicator sound as well. It's very satisfying. I found the seats quite comfortable too. The bases are quite firm, so not everyone will like that, but I don't mind it. I find them quite supportive. Now we are in the diesel, which is a little bit different because you don't see many brand new diesel cars out there, and it's actually more expensive than the plug-in hybrid. And this is the Takumi model that we're in, so the more premium one. It's not Takumi Plus, so it doesn't have 360 cameras and the rear tinted windows. So it's a nice torquey diesel engine. Got 251 brake horsepower. Nice. That is a very torquey, grunty diesel there. Perfect as well for those longer journeys. It's a mild hybrid, and they took mild literally when they said mild hybrid. It's got a 0.33 kilowatt hour battery, which is smaller than a normal car battery, just to put it into perspective. But that is supposed to help coast at certain speeds. However, it won't have a pure EV driving mode. It's just to help lower emissions ever so slightly, really. You've got paddles again to change gears, 8-speed auto again. It's about 57 grand this car, so it's not cheap, but it does feel rather premium. The range starts at just over £49,000 with the exclusive line plug-in hybrid model. It's not cheap, but it is in line with a lot of other competitors. And Mazda say it can do just under 50 miles per gallon, WLTP combined, which isn't bad at all for a car of this size. Obviously it's a diesel, so you do expect it to do quite good miles per gallon, but that is really good. And they say the extra urban economy is 56 miles per gallon, so you could maybe get that if you're on a longer journey. It doesn't feel much slower than the plug-in hybrid actually, it's nice. 8.4 seconds 0 to 62. It's nippy enough and it's got that torque, so it's grunty. These can tow up to 2.5 tons as well, both in the plug-in hybrid and in the diesel. So that's also a nice selling point of the vehicle. And also the fact that the plug-in hybrid is all-wheel drive is great as well, because there is some other plug-in hybrid SUVs this size that are just two-wheel drive. It's just very smooth and settled as well when you want it to be. And it doesn't have that diesel rattle that you might expect it to. It's nice. It actually reminds me a bit of the 3-litre TDI that you get in the Touareg, for example. It's got that big grunty torquiness to it and smoothness as well. That's what you really notice from having more cylinders, is that it just cruises so nicely, and when you do put your foot down, it's got the power to do it. It's not straining the engine. Occasionally it sounds a little diesely, but not for very long. And obviously it's a more convenient option than a plug-in hybrid if you don't have anywhere to plug in. This is also on 20-inch wheels, and the ride isn't too bad either. It's similar to the plug-in hybrid model. It's obviously lighter than the plug-in hybrid model. And Mazda have said they made a few changes from the CX-60 on this model. Changed the suspension setup slightly as well for a smoother drive, supposedly. So you can go into like electric if you like, or the engine idle for like a second or two because of how tiny the mild hybrid battery is. In fact, the mild hybrid battery on this is almost half the size of a Ford Fiesta mild hybrid batteries. And it's not too diesely, as I say. You're not hearing that raspy that a diesel normally makes. Just at certain points you will hear it, but other than that, pretty good. And you can see it's just dropped the revs right down now to where it's literally kind of cut off the power. It's at 0 revs right now, which is running off our own steam. So that's quite clever. I'm going to do a little bit of a loop now, continuous driving, just to see what miles per gallon we can actually get. We're averaging about 60 miles per gallon over this stretch here, just at this constant 50 miles per hour. That's really good. So great for them roadworks on the motorway. It just has very low revs. It's just over 1,000 revs. And then it's just sipping fuel, even though it's a 6-cylinder. So very impressive. It's a large vehicle, it's heavy, so this is great. Which hybrids people often forget. They're best around town and at lower speeds, and sometimes on the motorway you're just not going to get the benefit of the electric a lot of the time, so you're just going to be carrying a heavier car around. So a diesel still makes sense for quite a lot of people. Company car tax is obviously quite a lot higher on a diesel vehicle. Road tax is actually the same as on the plug-in hybrid. You always have that consistency with one source of power, don't you? So if you've got a full electric car or a full combustion engine, you're going to know what it's like. A hybrid can be a bit different. But I have to say the hybrid did drive very well, always feeling quite similar, regardless of whether you're in petrol or electric mode. Over the last few miles, averaging about 50 miles per hour, I've averaged 57.8 miles per gallon. That's really impressive. It is possible, and that's not mega pushing it hard or being really careful, so it can be really efficient in the diesel as well. Inside the CX-80, it's not surprising that it feels rather luxurious. It is a lovely vehicle. You've got all the physical buttons that you could ever want as well, whilst they're still digital. So you can still ask Alexa to put your heated seat on and it'll put the physical button on, which is a bit mad, but Fords and things like that have done that in the past, had physical and voice activation, or physical and a climate menu. This has just got the physical buttons down here, which is great. Got heated and ventilated seats on the Hamura and above, so you can get cool seats and also have them heated, which is really nice. This steering wheel's lovely as well, nice size with the round centre. I really like that. You don't see many cars with that anymore, so it just looks really classy, stylish. You've got the electric column on this one as well. Extends very far out, so you can get a really comfortable driving position. Seats are electric in this one as well. Again, lots of adjustability. It can go very high, very far forward, and very low and very far back. So really impressive. This is nice. So on the Homura, you've got this kind of bronze colour and the black leather. Takumi, you've got the light interior. Everything felt very premium in the Homura model, but everything looks more premium in this Takumi. So you have the lighter Nappa leather interior, which is stunning. Harder to keep clean, but very pretty. You've also got this special stitching as well, inspired by Japanese kimonos. It's a special design and it's also backlit as well, so looks great at night. And this maple wood, the real wood inlays, which looks great, and it doesn't look old-fashioned, it looks premium. It's really lovely to have that inlays and just really nice materials everywhere. This has got the optional panoramic sunroof because it's not a Takumi Plus, so it's £1,000 if you do want to opt for this. You get 12 speakers on Homura and above, and you get an 8-speaker Mazda system on the exclusive line standard model. This is the more practical option, definitely, and then on the exclusive line you've got a slightly different interior. Central infotainment screen, which controls through this dial here. Really easy to use, and it means you can keep your eyes on the road, which is great. So I do really like that about it. It's not too intruding on your view as well, which is great. And then you've got your 12.3-inch digital dials as well, which is also a really lovely feature on the vehicle. Everything is so clear. This armrest is great as well. It's always comfortable. Everything is good quality. Obviously there's cheaper materials at the bottom. It would be nice to have the door bins carpeted. That feels a bit nicer. But other than that, it does all feel quite well put together and nice. But this isn't a surprise for Mazda. Mazda have interiors like this, I'd say from the CX-30 and above. They all feel quite well screwed together, nice quality. So you don't have to have a massive Mazda like this to have a premium edge across other competitors. If you do want this nice luxurious feel, you don't have to go for a CX-80 to get that. You can have a smaller Mazda vehicle, you'll be pleased to know. So you can see the 360 cameras there. They're on your Plus models, so Homura Plus and Takumi Plus have got those. You've got obviously front and rear sensors on all cars. It's not essential 360 cameras, but obviously on a car like this, good to have. And this is the inside of the exclusive line, which is the standard model. It's really comfortable still, and it still has that quality feel. The leather on the wheel is still quality. You've got this silver trim, which is quite fancy. It reminds me of Genesis, this. It reminds me a lot of the GV60 that had that same sort of trim. The seats are manually adjustable, but you still do have the adjustability of the tilt of the seats. You can still get really comfortable. Obviously, it's still quite a premium car. It's just under £50,000, still a lot of money. Obviously, the diesel is a bit more expensive than the plug-in hybrid, but driving both of them, they're both really nice options and both deliver excellent miles per gallon as well. You get the same digital dials and screen as well on all cars, the 12.3 inches, which looks really clear and nice. Okay, so your most important part of the car is probably going to be your boot space and practicality with a car like this. As you can see, with 5 seats in place, you've got really big, up to 687 litres of space. That is excellent. It is bigger than the CR-V. It is almost as big as the Volkswagen Tayron. So pretty impressive. With all 7 seats, you've got 258 litres of space, which isn't massive. Space underneath though for your charging cable and also the parcel shelf, which is nice. So it is good that you do have that. Unfortunately, you don't have a place to have a small parcel shelf here, but it's not really needed because not much space. The back seats, pull these straps, the headrest falls down, and then you can simply fold them. So that's quite clever, really easy to do that. And you've got proper headrests on the back as well, which not all cars have got. You've also got the cup holders on each side in the back, and then you've got a really big boot. You've also got 2 3-pin plugs, which is really useful, handy to have that to keep everything charged up on the go, especially with the full family in the vehicle. But it's not a massive amount of room, is it really, when all the seats are in place? However, if there's 6 of you, for example, you can have one down like so. Then you've got quite a big load area really. You could get a good few suitcases in there and then still have enough people in there as well. So it is good. As well, it's good because it offers more space than a CX-60. So if you don't even need 7 seats, you just need a bigger boot, then this will give you that extra space. But now let's hop in the back seats and see how it is. First of all, the doors open almost 90 degrees, very wide indeed, and they're quite big. So that might be a trouble in tight car parks, so just something to bear in mind. It's not too bad, but it is quite a long door. And then you've got your 3 seats in here. Now this does differ depending on what configuration you go for. You can opt for a 6-seat configuration if you want a more luxurious feel. That'll then give you a captain style, so you'll have 2 seats here, 2 seats in the back. You can have it with a walkthrough, so you can just easily get to the back seats, or with a fancier center console for more comfort. But if you're going for that, you may as well just get the 7 seats and just keep this down all the time, and you're quite comfortable anyway. Also, you still have premium materials throughout the back, which is nice. It doesn't feel too cheap here. It's got tri-zone climate control and 2 USB-Cs back here as well. Quite comfortable in the back of the CX-80 then, and you sit quite high up as well, so you get a really good view out of the cabin, quite like what you'd see in a Land Rover, for example. Got quite a lot of knee room. This seat is quite far back and lots of headroom. The sunroof, it would be nice if that extended a bit further back because it does stop here. The second row, you're still getting light in, but unfortunately not in the back of the car. Your ISOFIX points are also ones that come off, which is a little bit annoying. You do also have the option to recline your seat quite far back or more upright should you wish. The seats also can slide forward and back, so they go forward quite a far way and back. It's 12 centimeters of travel, which is really impressive. Loads of leg room as well you can give yourself. And of course, you can move it forward a bit and give the third row a bit more leg room. Middle seat, not the best. You sit quite far forward in it because this back is quite bulky. We'll recline that back a bit. That's a bit better then, but it's kind of a perch rather than a proper seat. And how easy is it actually to access the back row? Well, you've got a little button here, flips that down and helps you slide that forward, and then you can access the back. So let's do that. You've got a bit of a step clambering on into the back of the CX-80. What's it like? Well, they're actually quite comfortable seats in the back of here. I mean, you obviously have your knees quite high up. It's more for smaller adults or kids, but it's not too bad. You've still got quite a bit of headroom. I'm 5'8", so if you're 6 foot, you're not going to have enough space really in the back of here. But for kids, it is fine, and it's one of the more spacious in the third row back here. It feels more luxurious in the back than a Tiguan Allspace or the Seat Tarraco as well, but of course it is at the more premium price point. You've got 2 USB-C points, 1 on each side as well, 2 cup holders which are decent size, some vents for the fans as well, the seatbelt hooks to keep those out the way, and then obviously in the boot you've got the 3-pin plugs so you can access them from the back seats as well. So you don't feel too bad in the back. Also, you've got these windows, so it's not too dark in here either. So that seat is now moved back to give the second row a bit more room, and yeah, it is a bit tighter now. You've got a little bit of room to put your feet under the seats, but not too much, unfortunately. So that could be better, because common problem in these cars is that you can't actually get your feet under the second row as they sit low. It's not too bad, and it does offer a bit more space than some other rivals, especially for children. It's quite good. Unfortunately though, you don't have ISOFIX in the rearmost seats of the vehicle, so you can't put the child seats here in the back and then have the bigger kids in the front. You've got to put the child seats in the middle row, but that's quite common what you get on most 7-seaters. I appreciate you've got proper headrests as well, rather than ones that don't extend far enough high. Then you can, when you need to get out, just flip that, slide it and jump out. Or if you have the 6-seat configuration, you can just walk through the middle, which is also easier. It was really nice to be able to drive both the plug-in hybrid and the diesel models. Both are very efficient and very comfortable vehicles too. Great that you've got the extra space in the back if you want the bigger boot, or the extra 2 seats. So you could do that, or you could get a Mazda CX-60 and tow an MX-5 behind you and have the same amount of seats. That might be the more fun option, but this still does provide good fun to drive, driving dynamics as well, and the suspension's good even on the 20-inch wheels. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you to Mazda UK for having me at their CX-80 launch. I look forward to featuring more Mazda models in the future on the channel. Make sure to subscribe for all the latest reviews, and I'll see you in the next one.